I am standing at the Tot Hill trailhead of the Birkhead Mountain Wilderness in the Uwharrie National Forest, and I am hoping to go on a 16-mile, more or less off-trail loop of the area that includes a Revolutionary War cemetery, a plane crash, an old dam, let's see what else, some peaks that are off-trail and remote, some old gold mines, all sorts of things. So join me and I'll let you know how it goes. All right, Birkhead Mountain Trail southbound, Camp 3 Trail 1.8 miles, Robbins Branch Trail 2.6. Just kind of use this sign as my departure point. And yeah, see what I can find. Looks like a deer trail here. So the real challenge to make all of this work is going to be to read the land, take bearings with my compass sometimes, so I'm not always just staring at a phone, and to take advantage of game trails because animals know the best way to traverse terrain in the most efficient fashion. All right, I've climbed to a little ridge here, and I can see that I have a ridge opposite with a ravine in between that goes around this way and a knoll up here. So I'm gonna check to make sure there are no snakies. A lot of snakes like to hide behind logs in ambush mode. It may still be too cold for most of them to be out. I don't know. It'll be cold again tonight. They may be out today. And so what I need to do here is get a lay of the land, orient myself, look at a map, and figure out from this little knoll where I need to go next. Wow. So right here, looks like I'm destined to go up that elevation based on what I have planned. So I will do that. It's a beautiful time of year to be out here. Red buds are beginning to bloom. You can probably see the pinkish purple of the red buds up in the canopy ahead. Nature can be all power. Sure, yank down that branch at some point. Something caught my eye up here. Looks kind of distressing. Wow. Okay. This is an old forest road, so I may follow that. It's definitely not marked in any map, but I think that's what I'm going to do, go up through this downfall and see if it goes up the mountain there. Before I do that, I'm going to go off of this old forest road and see what mess is here. Yeah. Somebody a long time ago set up a tarp, forgot about it, just got lazy, who knows. I'll mark the coordinates and maybe someday I can come back when I can pack something out. Alright, this forest road, I'm curious where it goes. That's a heck of a climb. Let's get back on it and follow it through and or around this fallen tree. Alright, let's go around. Challenge is to keep track of the road despite the fallen tree. Alright, so it's going in theory I should be able to pick it up on the far side of the tree. Alright, we'll try that. Well, I think this is still maybe the remnants of an old road. I think water has defined it in recent years as opposed to foot travel. But it's going the direction I need to go. So I'm going to follow it up this slope. Sad. A white jug caught my eye. Somebody's old tent or deer stand is up here. And they just left it. It's not how you take care of wilderness people. I know it may not look like a road, but you spend a lot of time in the woods. Woods that have been repurposed in former uses. You begin to notice things. Now, what's nice right now is it's following this ridge. Fresh deer scat. Hopefully you can see the indentation of the trail or road as it goes down here. And as if that weren't enough, right over there, somebody put up a blaze. So I assume it is along this little trail. It goes down into this hollow here. Looks like there may be some water in the bottom. Hard to tell, but we'll know. But yeah, there's a blaze. Aha. And that might be a bearing tree. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So people survey these. There you go. Has a bearing tree. $1992 maybe? But going down here, there is a post that some poor soul brought in. Land survey monument, do not disturb. Property corner 1970. So people do survey this. Alright, I'm going to go back on trail and see where it goes. I'm still within the boundaries according to my map. So there is a little current in that. The creek must go underground up in the gully somewhere. And trickling back here. In retrospect, all the holly bushes are green and they're growing right alongside it to get water, as opposed to the much less colorful hillside. Alright, so trail came down right here. Seems to continue this way. So let's see where this goes. Interesting. I'm suddenly coming out into really young cedar heavy forest. And the roadbed is down to, oh no, there it widens out again. Fascinating. Ahead, my map showed a creek crossing in an interesting dead-end road. Well, maps don't lie. It showed me coming out on a creek. And this one has a fair amount of water in it. And my trail continues on the far side. So it looks like I'm going to go upstream a little bit and see if I can find a crossing point. It's interesting, that's a cut log. It looks like there may once have been a bridge here. Definitely, look at that. I see 3 different pieces over there. So there was a bridge here at some point that just gave in. I'm sure a flood got to it. You would not believe how ferocious these little creeks become when they flash flood. All right, so I just need to find a way across. I'll be doing this all next 3 days. The logs in the water in the distance crossing were once the bridge. This is what it looks like upstream. Really beautiful area. There's some old trees up there, but I don't trust those. So this may be time to get my feet wet. If this rocky area is firm enough, I can get across without getting my feet mucked up in the slop. That would be good. This bank is suspect, especially after heavy rain the other day. All right. Yep. All right, I'm going to put this up. As you can see, finding the hard bottom paid off. And ahead of me, the road minus the bridge continues. When I was drawing in a route, not aware at all of these old forest roads, although I guess I should have suspected it, but there is one that looks like it's still maintained that comes in a ways up here. So that's where I think I'm headed. I just looked over to the left, and there's this massive boulder field. Sort of rocky outcrop, I'm sure. These roads are definitely helping me make some time. And it's interesting because clearly they reflect the history of the place. And whether they're farming roads, or gold mining roads, or forestry roads, I don't know. All of this was doubtless pasture at some point. Oh look! Red buds. Oh, I wasn't expecting this. Beautiful woodwork. Just heard a noise inside and looked out. A vulture flew up there. Well, I'm leaving behind that old house, which was quite a surprise. I'm heading off-road again and off-trail. I think this is the way I'm headed. Because it looks like I need to get to the top of a rise. And that looks like a rise. So I'm going to wend my way that way. It looks like I just discovered something else. Yeah. People have taken advantage of the road to this old house. Have a little fire circle here. All right. I'm going to leave the house to the vulture that I think has a nest in it and head up the slope. As you may be able to tell, there's a trail here, fairly well used, totally unmarked, unnamed. I assume it leads down in the direction of the house. I bushwhacked up the knoll, and on the saddle I started turning this way and then came across this trail. Over here on the left, the ridge, I believe, is Cedar Rock Mountain. Supposed to be some stone facades off of it somewhere. Maybe I'll happen to go by those. I have no idea. It's beautiful, though, to walk on this ridge with that ridge opposite. And I can tell there's a creek way down in the bottom down there. At least it sure looks like it. Well, the trail continues on, but not in game lands or the wilderness. Look at this. 3 bearing trees in a row at the Land Survey Monument. Alright, and I see red going down this way. So I'm going to orient myself on the map. I believe I need to head down just this side of it, down this gentle slope. Yeah, kind of angle back a little bit this way. And so I'm right here. I head back down to Betty McGee's Creek, which I think is the one I crossed. Yeah, it was the one I crossed earlier. Head back down to that and look for a gold mine. You take a bearing, it gives you a direction. You spot something that's within walking distance, go to that point, go on the opposite side of it, shoot your bearing again to continue, and that way you can go around obstacles in the woods. But I think essentially, when I look at my map, I can tell it's going down a little bit and then goes up to that rise and then probably drops down precipitously to Betty McGee's Creek. So that's the way I'm headed. And that way I'll be putting this boundary on the left behind me, going back into game lands and Birkhead Mountains. Okay. I came down that slope way up there, down to this little creek bottom here. Hopped across the creek 5 or 6 times. I am in spitting distance according to the coordinates of the Dowd coal mine, I believe it's called. I don't know what remnants are left. I'll take a look around. The only sign I see of human involvement is over here. And that's this pile of rock. So perhaps this bottom area is where he dug. Maybe it's all filled back in and trees are growing where there were once mine shafts. Those have definitely been placed there for a reason. Don't really see any other man-made structures up there. Go in this way a little. There are a fair amount of stones. Okay. I'm going to say this is the site because there's that pile there. There's a pile right here. This must have once been the mine site. I think those have been piled together, judging from the way they roll around. So maybe these kind of in a line. I wonder if they were like a water sluice or something supporting that. Hard to say. And I think that's the remnants of the famous Dowd Mine. All right, well, that was quite an adventure to come here. Now the question is, where do I go next? 2.5 hours of daylight. I need to be headed to a place that's going to have possible campsite and fresh water. More stone structures there. More stone structures there. Pile of stones over there that got crushed by a tree. This whole slope down to the creek bottom where I was looking for the mine, it's calling it Dowd, is actually the Colburn Mine. The Dowd Mine is up ahead. But I got to go back up the slope of Cedar Rock Mountain, and then run down one of its slopes to a creek bottom and do some other stuff before I get there. It's 4:15, 3 hours, 15 minutes till sunset. I need to hustle a bit. I was just complaining about this really gnarly territory. And I came across something pretty special. I have no idea what it is. I mean, I assume it's part of a chimney, but I guess this was the foundation. Was standing in the cellar. Hard to say. Let's open up a little bit more. I just need to figure out my direction here. The settlers that came to this area were European Americans who started in the 1780s. With peak construction between 1820 and 1890. Turn around, look back, and realize there's a deer stand. The ridge in the horizon is Cooler's Knob Mountain, I believe. I think it has to be. Oh. I think I just got into Cedar Rock. Yeah, that's got to be the ridge of Cooler's Knob. Campfire areas where people have been here. Look at the gorgeous moss. All these different types. Cedar Rock Mountain, but there are pine trees around it. Very cool though. This is a big sheet of stone. A little bit reminiscent of a mini Stone Mountain, North Carolina. Ah, the wind. Definitely gets the ridges. My left knee is giving me IT band issues, which hurts. So I'm gonna get some water and take some ibuprofen and rest for a few minutes here. Coming down the side of Cedar Rock Mountain, headed towards the Camp 3 trail. And I think Camp 3 will be my camp tonight. Hadn't really factored in the whole possible IT band issue. It's supposed to be a 3-day or 3-night trip, 4-day trip. I'll just have to see how I feel. Maybe a good night's sleep, lazy morning in camp. That might be good. We'll see. These excavations you see here, there's another one down there, perhaps another below. And there's actually another one over there, partially filled in. These are old gold mine shafts. This area had lots of gold mines back in the day. Alright, I need to figure out with this topography I'm facing where the trail I'm trying to intersect is. I'm decided to hit a trail that I know for a firmer footing to give my IT band a little bit of a break. It's been really rough, kind of in the thick 4 or 5 inch deep leaf litter, because your knee is like twisting in different directions because of the uneven ground. So somewhere in front of me along that slope there is a trail, and that's what I've got to find. Another example of an old gold mine shaft. The mine in this area was the Dowd Mine. They're all over. I see another one up there. Tons of them. So, I guess we successfully found the Dowd Mine with all of these holes that I've been showing you. So this whole time, look a mess. This whole time, of course, I've been more or less off trail. That's exhausting. But I just saw this blaze in this extremely well maintained trail. This is the Camp 3 trail. Oh, it's fairly hard underfoot. Another blaze, which feels better than shifting ground. Oh, another maybe 15 minutes. I should be doglegging into camp past the Reed mine. Reed? No, not Reed. I don't know what it is. I'll let you know when I get there. But the point I started to say is, when you've been relying on your own navigation for so long and following a path, to suddenly end up on familiar territory where you don't have to think and you can just put one foot in front of the other is a relief. And I have a beverage that is waiting for me for when I get to camp. So let's knock out this last bit to Camp 3. This is the only mine shaft I know of that still has some of the crank apparatus that was used to raise and lower things into the mine shaft. All manually, of course. Alright, let's get to this camp. Alright, this upper fire pit signals Camp 3. As you can see, it's sort of terraced with some semi-flat spots. And there is a well house. This old spring house was built in the 1960s by a Boy Scout troop. And as you can see, aside from a couple leaves that have blown in, it keeps the pool of water very clean. Ice cold. First thing I like to do when I get to camp is organize stuff, hang things up off the ground so I can access them so they don't get scattered. And I want to take that tent over there and set it up. Second pitch, first time I've ever done it in the wilderness, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to try it. The tent is the Durston XMed 1. I was in too much pain to film this while I was trying to hobble around and get it set up, but it worked perfectly and proves to be a very lightweight, high-value shelter if you carry trekking poles. As you can see, I decided to have a little bit of a fire tonight. And of course, the wind has switched from the way it was before I built the fire pit. In ancient Greece, welcoming a stranger to your hearth was one of the greatest acts of generosity one could do. I think I understand it. So friends, those of you watching, welcome to my hearth in the wilderness. All right, I'm cooking my scallions, my spinach, my carrots, my cauliflower in some ghee, which is clarified butter. Classic Indian style. I am using a Purcell Trench grill. This is just a brilliant piece of kit. If you use grills over campfires, this weighs nothing. It's made out of aircraft grade titanium. It is vacuum soldered so that it is just incredibly lightweight, incredibly durable, and I love it. It's just brilliant. Part of the goodness of this is just having to wait. Something that is a huge help is a pocket bellows. Chicken butter and veggies looks like this. Hot, yummy, spicy, delicious. So glad I took the time to make this. All right, I have hung my food bag. No real predators around here, but raccoons, mice, things like that. So it's good to get it off the ground. And the fire kicking up a little bit for some warmth right before bed. Well, I reckon it's time for me to start getting ready for bed. This is the scene in the Durston. I've got to secure my quilt and attach it to my pad, and that's about it. Get everything settled in and cozy for the night. Looking forward to a good night's sleep here.